These are general readings, therefore the energy is not limited to sun sign only. The readings may resonate with you if any of your personal planets are in earth signs, which can be verified by checking your natal birth chart. A choice of personalised readings are offered in exchange for a moderate fee. Please visit the Pure Spirit website to access the specialised services on offer. My name is Dee and I am tuning into your energy frequencies from Mission Beach, a tropical paradise in northern Queensland, Australia. Thank you for taking the time to connect. In benefiting from the empowering guidance of the messages, please do pay this forward and share with others. Continue supporting the Way Showers, Starseeds, the pioneers who devote all of their energy into assisting humanity to navigate the new earth energies in order to align with 5D consciousness. Your generous donations will ensure the great work continues to be shared and accessed freely. Hello Taurus, Virgo and Capricorn. This first spread is for all of you, and afterwards there will be the pathways spread for each of your signs individually. The first card pulled here for this spread is the card from the Energy Oracle of Attachment. I'm going to spend a little bit of time speaking to you about this topic because the card of attachment is here with the High Priestess of Spirit. And this is a symbol that expresses that no matter what is in front of you, something important is brewing. You will know the answer to the what soon enough, but the why is a secret. But you may step forward knowing that some things are meant to remain a mystery. I see some challenges ahead for you. Hence the reason why the card of attachment comes in with some significance. For I feel that it is a card or an indication that attachment is going to be the issue that will cause or is causing the challenges that I see here in the cards. When it comes to aligning with fifth dimensional energy, we at some point are all going to be challenged with the issue of attachment. Attachment to the third dimension, attachments to the whole way of life and existence with and in the third dimension. The reason this is going to be or is such a significant challenge for us all that are consciously working towards the fifth dimensional frequency is because the frequencies of the third dimension and the fifth dimension are so completely different. None of us have likely been living in a fifth dimensional frequency existence in the capacity in which we are now able to. Because even when we've been connected to spirit, and we may have developed our gifts of intuition and other extrasensory perceptions, we were doing this in the past through the veil of illusion. And it required oftentimes a lot of effort, like going into spaces of meditation, we may have known and sensed certain things, had a gut feel about them in the past, but we never actually had any solid proof that could confirm those extrasensory perceptions. So it was a bit like flying by the seat of your pants kind of feeling, where you might just feel something and think that it's like a certain way, but there was never really any confirmation of those things. But now, because the actual earth, the world, is moving into the fifth dimension, and that whole curtain of illusion has dropped for a lot of us, or is dropping, our senses are being confirmed left, right and centre, to the point where it's no longer just a gut hunch, but it's so blatantly obvious that it's actually right in our face now, whatever it is that we're sensing, to the point where it can't even be escaped. It's just right there. There's no more doubt anymore. So now, what we used to just sense or feel, it's like it's being thrown in our face so directly that you can't avoid it, you can't deny it. It's just there. It's now like raw reality. Right now, here in the moment, it's right in our face. And you can't shake that off at all. Like, you can't put it on the back burner. It's just there. It has to be dealt with. In the moment, you will find it hard to even be able to try and wash off what you see and feel, or to try and avoid it. You just won't be able to. It will actually be so in your face that you will just you won't be able to help yourself but to react to it as soon as it's there. And the reason why attachment is going to be so challenging is because when something is thrown blatantly in your face, it's hard not to react and not to let it get to you to a point of attachment. So reacting to the attachment actually becomes the issue. But because it's going to come in a way where you will strongly have these feelings where you just know something. But it might be that the other people around you, as obvious as it is to you, will continue to deny and hide, bury their head in the sand, don't want to look at it, refuse to admit to stuff they're doing. Whatever it is, there are going to be secrets around you abounding. And even if you know what that secret is, the why will be the issue for you. Why other people are continuing to deny the obvious or continuing to deny something that they've done, even though you know wholeheartedly that they've lied or that they're up to something. So there could be a level of frustration that comes in with this. That's going to cause some anxiety and even indecision. Now, the other thing with attachment is that in moving into the fifth dimension frequency, it means that on all levels, our lives are going to be moving and changing. Our whole lifestyle could be completely turned upside down and inside out. Which again brings up the issue of why. We just may not see the relevance, may not understand why we're being confronted with certain challenges, with certain changes that will occur or are occurring already within our life. And all of us are going to be, if we haven't already, be challenged in this way. And it can mean that in a couple of years' time, You may barely not even recognize your new life anymore when you compare it to where you will be to where you are now. It could be that drastic a change. It can mean whole new relationships, whole new careers, whole new places of living and ways of lifestyle. Because anything that isn't in alignment with the fifth dimension is falling to the wayside. So toxic relationships have to go. Any relationship in which you are not with someone who is on your same frequency, in alignment with your same frequency level, or the level that you are moving to, it will almost be impossible for you to even stay together anymore, because when you're changing and evolving and you're moving into higher consciousness and your level of awareness is reaching heights like never before, anyone around you who is continuing to stay in those lower vibrational energies will be so repelling for you. You will actually find that you will be so sensitive that you just can't be around anyone who is continuing on those lower frequencies. So what are the lower frequencies? Things like when people are addicts, they have drinking problems, they're toxic. They're on drugs, it's toxic. None of this is of the fifth dimension. And people who are continuing to stay stuck in their addictions simply can't and won't be able to reach fifth dimensional frequencies. And many of them will never in this lifetime reach fifth dimensional frequencies. Now, anyone who is resisting moving to the fifth dimensional frequencies, they are going to create a lot of suffering for themselves. The more resistant they are, the more they fight it, the harder life is going to be for them. And if you stay in the vibration with them, well, they'll only hold you down and hold you back. But they could also take you down with them. Everyone has a choice. Everyone's been offered a choice. Many have come into this world at this time already with the contract in place, knowing that they possibly chose to stay with the third dimension and the dark side. So even before they incarnated into this life, they chose to play it out that way. To experience all of the suffering. So in recent years, we've seen the denigration of society occurring all around us at a rapid pace. And it's like having two sides, the side of light and the side of dark, racing towards the finish line to see in a competition who's going to finish first. And what we're experiencing globally is the dark side is currently running well ahead of us. And it looks like they are going to get to the finish line first. However, the frequencies from all of the astrological transits we've been having, solar flares, all of these things that have been moving the earth through to the fifth dimension, well, this is nature. We've been getting hit and hit and hit and hit with transits that many only ever occur, could be hundreds of years apart, decades apart, and we've been getting them one after the other, after the other, after the other. Like Pluto-Uranus square, for one example. This alignment actually occurred between 2012 and 2015, 7 times. Pluto-Uranus squared off exactly 7 times during those years. So that particular transit, because it happened 7 times, if it didn't hit you the first time and it didn't hit you the second time, then it was going to hit you the third time or the fourth time or the fifth time, and if it still hadn't hit you, well, by the 7th time, if it hadn't affected you, particularly if it was directly affecting your sign, and Capricorn, well, Pluto was in Capricorn. So you would have got, like, if you're a Capricorn, a direct hit. And then depending on your personal planet placements, if you have any planets in Cancer, Aries, Libra, some area of your life, just about everyone would have been affected by the Pluto-Uranus squares. And even if you weren't personally directly hit in some way or form, the world at large definitely was. So the Pluto-Uranus squares were one big wake-up call. And it's likely that the people that I would call first wavers, so the ones that are leading the way with this fifth dimensional consciousness, were likely the ones who were directly influenced and affected by those Pluto-Uranus squares. And some of us were even feeling the effects of that long before 2012. Personally, I started to feel all of that back in mid-2011. That's when all the changes started for me, and they continued on right through, even well past 2015. It was a breaking down on my whole life, on just about every level. And one of the biggest challenges that come up for me during that time was the challenge and issue of attachment, because it meant that all these changes were coming into my life, and it virtually felt like a hurricane had come and ripped through my whole life, completely destroyed many relationships, my business, my whole lifestyle, just everything was like wiped out. And after the initial hurricane passed, I then had to sort through all the destruction, like going back to a property that has just been swept away by a hurricane, and pick through what was left to see what could be salvaged. And there wasn't a hell of a lot. So it took a number of years to literally assess all of this destruction, find all the bits and pieces that could be salvaged, and have to get my head around starting all over again and rebuilding a whole new life. It actually meant selling a property, leaving the town that I had been living in for the past 23 years, moving away from all that I had known. I had to look at rebuilding or starting afresh with a new career, new lines of income, just everything. So you can imagine when you're put into a position where your whole life is being turned upside down, the first thing we want to do is hold on to what is familiar, what's comfortable, what we know. And because we're heading into the unknown, a whole new way of life and being, that can be really hard. One of the secrets to surviving so many changes and upheavals is to have the ability to adapt. I am currently living in an area where I'm surrounded by crocodile-infested waters. And crocodiles, like, they send shivers up my spine even to look at a picture of them. They're one of those really creepy, like snakes kind of reptiles that, oh, well, let's put it this way, I don't venture into any waters where they could possibly be lurking. And as much as I cringe at crocodiles, I have a certain respect for them because of the fact that they are so prehistoric. They are basically dinosaurs. And the reason that they have survived and outlived all the other dinosaur species is because they've been able to adapt to all the earth changes, climate change, all of that. They've managed to survive thousands and thousands and thousands of years where so many other species have gone extinct. And so many other civilizations have gone extinct. There's been 5 major extinctions in history, and we are now going through a 6th mass extinction. And the people that are going to really struggle to survive this. Now, let's just remember, this isn't just an extinction because of climate change, which is largely is created by man. It's a man-made climate change, unlike the Ice Age and the Great Flood and anything in history with the other mass extinctions. This is also, it's like we're being hit with everything at once. So we're not just going through climate change, we're also experiencing an evolution from the industrial age into the technological age. And no one is going to avoid this unscathed. we're all going to be challenged with this in ways that we are going to have to let go of our attachments to the way it was, because it just isn't anymore. Things are changing that fast, at the speed of light virtually. And it'll be those that can adapt to these changes on all levels, and move with the changes, prepare for the changes as much as you can, and do what's required in order to survive the changes that are going to have the best hope of survival. Many simply won't survive all of this. It's just a fact. So the more that people resist it, the harder they're going to make it for themselves. But like I said before, many already came into this world knowing, choosing what part they will play, whether they're on the side of light or on the side of the dark forces. It's like a role in a play. They chose what part they'll play in the end times. And we have to become aware that we can't choose for them, you know. People themselves will know generally by the age of 12 to 14 they have chosen for themselves. I think at 12 to 14 there's an initiation general for everyone, that no matter what influence and background that you've come from and you've grown up in, you choose on a much deeper level which role and part you're going to play out in your life. So we're going to have to learn to let go of the attachments that we have to thinking that we can influence other people, to choose wisely, to do good, to come across to our side, whatever it may be. Personally, I feel that the day for people to choose which path they are on, whether they're on the path to oblivion or the path to heaven on earth. They've already been presented, we've all already been presented that choice long ago. And the choice has already been made. And now the consequences of that choice is playing out. So those who aren't already awake, especially if they're not already awake on some level, and if you try to talk to them about any of this stuff I'm discussing now, they would just shut down. They wouldn't be able to understand or comprehend a single word of it. They're the people who they're never going to wake up. They cannot possibly have been in this world for the last 10 years, say, and still not have an inkling that there is something huge going down in the world right now. If they are totally oblivious, totally in denial, and they just cannot even begin to comprehend what you're saying if you brought up this subject with them, then they are literally one of those that are degenerating in consciousness and awareness. Many it will be because they've been in a constant state of drunkenness in this last decade, and they're oblivious to absolutely everything going on around them and everyone around them. And I've even had an individual express to me 2 or 3 years ago. He had actually come out of a decade long of being constantly drunk during that time in the 10 years prior. And just in conversation, he expressed how he had very little recall of anything that had occurred in his life, even though he had had children, and I mean plenty of things that happened in that 10 years before this. But he recalled very little of it. Just it was gone in a haze because he was drunk all the time. And you would literally have to be like that to not feel, see, sense that we're at checkmate. We've been at checkmate for a while with everything that's going down in the world. And now it's just playing out all the consequences. And those of us that are moving in alignment with the fifth dimension, it is so in our face now. All the corruption, all of the lies, deception, the dog eat dog, all of these horrible things that has made life hell on earth to be trapped and stuck in the third dimension. So the knowing that the fifth dimensional frequencies are available to us now, and the promise of what the fifth dimension is, the much higher frequency in which to exist, and the kind of world that the fifth dimension lends itself to us in order to create this heaven on earth. As much as many of us are yearning for this, and some of us are rushing towards this and embracing it, we're still going to have to challenge this almost like a natural inclination to attach to the old, to the known, to the familiar. But we have to let it go. We've got to be prepared to let go of our attachments, no matter what those attachments are. And the firmer you are in attaching to a certain person, a certain relationship, a certain lifestyle, a certain career path, a certain way of being, whether it's like materialistic greed, materialistic fulfillment, any attachment, that is where you're most going to be challenged, and you're going to find it the hardest to let go. But the thing is, you're not going to be able to move into alignment with the fifth dimension for as long as you're attaching to anything that's 3D and of that lower frequency. So I hope I've conveyed that in a clear enough way that it now gives you some kind of insight as to the why part of that high priestess spirit. Now, with the card of attachment and the high priestess's spirit, we've got the Page of Swords. And because the Seven of Swords is also here in the middle of the spread, these two cards both can relate to, but because they're both here, spying. So it's either someone spying on you or you're spying. And if you've got gut hunches about someone being deceptive, or you know that there's more to something that more than meets the eye kind of feeling, and you need proof, or you're compelled to search for proof, or you just are seeking confirmation for your gut feelings, and the chances are you are the one that is doing some spying. Now, we've got a number of cards here related to relationships. The man holding a heart, the Two of Cups, the Hierophant could be playing a part here, and we have the card of love and the Angel of Love. So this tells me that for many of you, there's going to, or there is, a strong focus on relationships, particularly intimate ones, playing out for you. But this isn't a relationship spread per se, but there is definitely a strong theme of partnership and relationships playing out here. So obviously this area, an aspect of your life, for many of you, is indicated strongly through the cards right now. The man holding a heart indicates the male dealing with family, love, or emotions. And for a man, this card signals greater clarity about emotions and the purpose in your life. It could be that there's a need for a more balanced approach to family and love at this time, even if this has been a confusing experience for you in the past. But for some, this card could signal the presence of a new man in your life, and one who tends to be more thoughtful and aware. Whether or not this man is a love interest or a friend, he brings a high intention to help where personal projects, family or home issues are concerned. The cards are advising you to bring some playfulness into your intimate partnerships and relationships at this time. Or maybe you are experiencing your relationships in a playful kind of way at the moment. With the Two of Cups here, this could be a very special time with your soulmate. However, next door to the Two of Cups is the High Priestess. When these two cards appear together, it indicates that there is secrets around, but it can also indicate that there's a challenge with being able to get to the depths of your loved one almost like, well, there might be closeness and intense intimacy even. There could be a feeling like there's almost like a wall between you and you just can't quite connect at the deepermost levels with your partner, because there could be some blockage there in either one of you. We also have the card of rigidness with the High Priestess. And the rigidness is literally the card of putting walls up, having walls between yourself and other people, or the other person having a wall up between you and them. But the Angel of Balance is here, and so there's the indication that a balance needs to be struck in this area. Angel of Balance is about being centered and self-honoring in your choices. And this card's telling us that although things may have been out of sync in the past, there is a greater equilibrium now coming into your life. So if you've been feeling almost like it's impossible to reach those innermost depths with your partner, in working through that rigidness, letting those walls and barriers down, whether that's you or the other person. Those walls have to be let down in order to really let another person in. But you're being asked to remain conscious about how you are balancing your goals and your physical and emotional energy as well. Whenever you feel yourself getting off center or losing focus, call upon this angel and bring her intentions into your heart center. Your intuition will lead you in the right direction, and the angel will guide you to a peaceful and centered approach. Now we've got the card of anxiety here, and since Virgo is included in this spread, sorry Virgos, but you're renowned for your anxiety, and this could be the card that you need to pay more attention to, because oftentimes when change is around or anything's out of kilter or whatever, the first thing that will come up for a Virgo is anxiety. One of the most anxious signs of all the zodiac. And the card of anxiety is here with the card Forbidden. The card of Forbidden is actually a warning card that not all opportunities all temptations or whatever's presented is right for you or available to you right now. Now, this Hierophant card, for some of you, this is going to be specifically related to marriage. Others of you, it's about being authoritative, maybe taking on the position of spiritual advisor to and for others. I think when we move to the individual pathway spread for each of you, there'll be some more information around this forbidden card. We'll be able to see which sign this is actually relating to more so. Because from this spread, I am just feeling that this is only for a certain group of individuals, more so than all of you. But that Seven of Swords being right in the middle of the spread here is going to be significant for quite a lot of you. And when I look at this again now, in a separate context away from that Page of Swords, generally the Seven of Swords represents it can be sabotage, self-sabotage. It can be someone sneaking around, thieving things, either material things or things like self-esteem from others, stealing energy from others on an emotional level, some way, somehow. But see how this beauty card is next to the forbidden card. Sometimes, oh, okay. What I'm feeling now, what is forbidden is something beautiful. Think on this forbidden card, no, on this beauty card. I'll actually take a photo of it so you can see the picture on it to include in this spread. The symbol is a rose. And as beautiful as a rose may be, we all know that most roses, have thorns. So that which is forbidden will be, for some of you, a married person, because the Hierophant's here. And the Hierophant can be representative of marriage. And whilst we may see a beautiful rose and think, oh, I'd really like to pick that and take it home with me, sometimes in doing just that, we risk pricking ourselves in the finger with one of those thorns. It's pretty hard to actually pick a flower without a rose, particularly, without gloves on or cutting it with a pair of scissors. If we want to avoid getting pricked with one of those spikes. And remember, the card forbidden is a warning. So, if you're thinking of falling for temptation and getting involved with someone who is not freely available to you, you may want to think again, because betrayal is not a fifth dimensional frequency. We're moving out of that. It's totally a third dimensional frequency. And this is the thing. We are going through initiation processes in order to move into this fifth dimensional frequency, into full alignment. We're being initiated and we're being tested. The universe is testing us on all levels to see if we're ready, to see if we are truly in alignment, to see if we've learned the lessons that we need to learn in order to move up to the next step on the path to full awareness and consciousness. And by now, if you are listening to this reading, you should be someone who is consciously aware enough to know that there are consequences for all things. And through many years of working with people through counselling and within their personal lives as being their advisor or the go-to person, I have never ever seen anything good in the long run come of an affair. And even those who claim that they met their twin flame, for example, whilst one or both of them were still married to somebody else, and they couldn't resist that twin flame connection, and they've just gone off and gone with it. When they are truly honest with themselves. Down the track, they realised that they could have dealt with their situation in a whole much better way rather than taking off in pursuit after a apparent twin flame relationship. And leaving a path of destruction for all of those around them in their wake. Personally, I don't believe that a true twin flame relationship, which is apparently a fifth dimensional relationship, would be formed through betrayal. So I seriously question anyone who thinks that they are actually with their twin flame if they came together with that apparent twin without having first gone through the processes of properly ending in a healthy way their other relationships. I think that's highly questionable. Because anyone who gives into the temptation of betrayal, that in itself, betrayal's a third dimensional frequency. And that says it all, really. What more is there to say? And there will always be consequences for betrayal. So even if you're allowed to go along for a while without any apparent consequences within that new relationship, at some time the karmic consequences are going to come up. They're going to come around, no matter what. So there's a right way and a wrong way to go about it. And anyone who wants to try and justify it any other way, well, try and justify as much as you like, but in the end, the universe and your own conscience will bring about the consequences. Okay. See how after this Seven of Swords, we've got the Five of Cups. And maybe that is the result of giving in to the temptation, as I was just talking about. It's like a natural progression. Do something deceitful and sneaky, and the consequence and result will be the Five of Cups, the card of disappointment. loss. This is actually usually someone else leaving you. If the Eight of Cups were here, that would be you doing the leaving. But the Five of Cups indicates you losing, your loss. Now, not all is lost, there's still 2 cups remaining. But the figure in this card has got his back to those 2 cups. Too busy focusing on the loss to see that 2 cups still remain standing. Now, this, for some of you, is also going to be in relation to what I was talking about at the beginning of the reading, connected with the attachments, that having to lose a lot of stuff in order for the new to come in. But because it's the Five of Cups, it generally is about an emotional loss. And yeah, some people have emotional attachments to property. But the feeling sense here is more so like an emotional connection. Now, I've jumped ahead to that card, but if we have a look back in the centre here, there's the Door to Value card. That's actually an indication of new beginnings in career and finances. So it could mean that we are moving in, we've been presented with a new opportunity for a new career and finances. But we're not even seeing it really if we're focused on 3 cups, because we're still reeling over a loss of a job or career perhaps that's happened in the past already. And I'm actually just not getting a whole lot of sense of excitement here. It's more feeling the challenges, struggling with taking on this new beginning. Almost like you feel like, well, it's just being forced upon me. And yeah, it probably has been. Because whatever you were doing before was not in alignment with your new path, a higher frequency job. It can be like in the past you were doing a job that was just bringing in your income, and you possibly didn't even like that job. I mean, you might have had to have worked really hard to have that job, and you might have got a lot of qualifications and that in order to be able to do it. And so you had invested a lot into that job. And your attachment might have been more because of that investment, but not because you actually really loved that job. But in the 5th dimensional frequency, there's no such thing as doing something just because you have to, just because, well, this is how I earn my living. No, we're moving into a frequency in which we can do something that we're truly passionate about, something that is fulfilling on all levels, something creative, something sharing, like more service orientated. Bill Hicks was an entertainer and comedian, but he was far, far more than that. He merely used the stage as a platform to deliver so much wisdom and a huge legacy that he left behind when he died at rather a young age. And this is something that he quoted: "I do not believe making money in order to consume goods is mankind's sole purpose on this planet. If you're wondering what I believe our purpose on this planet is, I'll give you a hint. It has to do with creating and sharing." And that's exactly what he did. If you're not acquainted with his work, you can check it out on YouTube. He was a very, very special man indeed. And the point is that there are so many jobs out there that really do nothing to help others in any way. Many corporations actually destroy people's health, and the planet, and really offer nothing of substance to contribute. Also, don't provide any avenue for creativity, and therefore there is no inspiration, imagination, anything of substance. This Tower card at the end of the reading here is just really standing out for me. So I've got a lot of intuitions flowing into me at the moment, connected with that and related to what we've been talking about. So I'm going to jump straight to the Tower card from this point at the moment and continue on with some really important messages that are flooding into my mind right now. And the point I'd like to stress is that not a whole lot ever really happens without us actually asking for it on some level or at some time. It's just that when the tower falls, everything starts crumbling down around us. We can actually forget what we actually asked for. But in asking for what we have, what we actually want, oftentimes it means losing something in order for the new to come in. But then when we're experiencing the chaos of this, we forget and lose sight of the big picture. And we fail often to make the connection that, well, this is occurring because on a heart level or on some level, this was what I was wanting. But you didn't expect or you didn't consider that in order to have that, well, it means losing that. Because if you don't lose that, whether it be a partner that you're no longer on the same frequency with, you've outgrown them, or you're moving in two separate directions, or you've become aware that they are truly walking on a complete other path to you, or that there were times when you wished that you could have a job where you would be able to express your creativity or your individuality, because that card's here as well with the Five of Cups and the third chakra. Maybe on some level you've always wanted to be in a line of work where you feel like you're actually contributing in some way to serving and helping others or making the world a better place. And maybe whilst that was what you were wanting, you've been rigid in another way and resistant to initiating the changes yourself in order to make that happen and create the new. And you just keep sitting there out of having the security of a regular income doing what you're doing. Or you just failed to prioritise and actually take the actions required to move into a new line of work. And this could have been going on for years. And yet you know on some deeper level that what you're doing, the current work, is not really in alignment with where you're headed and how you see yourself in the future. So the universe comes along and sends like this hurricane through your life and blows everything up in order to force you into the direction of your true desires and your soul's true destiny. So this is where you need to try and remain mindful of the big picture, as hard as it can be sometimes when you're going through all the turmoil of change and destruction. third chakra The third chakra is the chakra of emotions of desire, the life force energy. The issues here revolve around emotions of desire and your personal energy. When the card appears upright, it indicates an increased enthusiasm is present or soon to be on its way. This is a great time to move towards the completion of your desires. Your life force is vibrating with power and resonance, and your soul is calling you to direct your energy in a focused, purposeful manner. So go for it. The card of individuality is important because it reminds you to reflect on your unique qualities. It also reminds you not to compare yourself with others. This is a futile exercise because no one is the same and no one's beauty greater or lesser than yours. No one's life is better or less than yours. Others may seem happy doing things a certain way, but if you feel as if you're compromising yourself to fit in, don't. Your task here is only to be yourself. This is a powerful sign. Now we've got the card of indecision here. Indecision can be a really big block and obstacle to more or less giving the universe permission and free rein to move things into alignment in order to make them happen for you. So if you're indecisive and one moment you're heading in one direction and you're going, oh, this is what I want over here, and you've made up your mind about that, and then the universe starts to move into alignment, to order things to align with that decision. But then suddenly you change your mind and you head off and you go, no, that's not what I want, I'm going over here, this is my decision. Then the universe has to do a turnabout and start trying to move things into alignment with that decision. And if you just keep changing your mind and you can't stick to one path and one decision, then you throw the universe off its course and keep leaving it behind, like it just can't keep up with you. And so, and then even making no decision at all is a choice, that's still a decision. So when you're thrown up in the air into a place of not being able to make a decision, sometimes it's because the choices that are being offered to you, neither of the choices particularly seem attractive. You might be able to preempt problems or challenges with either of those decisions or choices that you could make. So what I do, and I don't know if this is something that is particularly productive or even a really good idea, but if I'm indecisive about something, then I actually decide not to make a decision at all until I can be more clear about my options. So that's when I might put it back to the universe, where I surrender to the universe to show me the way, send me the signs, and really give not the control, not the power of control, but I more or less just hand it back to the universe to show me the way, to let the universe lead. So sometimes it can be helpful to do that, just surrender, particularly for someone really orderly who generally likes to take control of a situation. And sometimes you're not really as trusting in the universe, so that can actually be like another test. If you don't trust that the universe is working for you, then it could actually be like taking a leap of faith in favour of the universe to hand over the control and put it to the universe to help you to make a decision. And we have the card of love here with the Knight of Cups. So this is really looking like a new offer of love coming in. For some of you, or you're thinking about making an offer of love. And we've also got the Angel of Love here as well. Which is just really more reinforcement that love is on its way. So if you're looking for new love, this angel brings a message of its upcoming approach. Or if you're longing for a deeper, more intimate connection with someone already in your life, she's here to say that far greater tenderness is available to you. Either way, remember that your first intention for tenderness must be directed inward, and the compassion that you demonstrate towards yourself will influence the energetic potential of these events in a significant way. Now is here with the card of differences. And the Fool. Now the Fool is representative of new beginnings. And this can also be, oftentimes when I see the Fool come up with cards of love, I always think only fools jump in, only fools leap in, because the Fool actually does leap without looking, is adventurous, and it's really important now more than ever because of the frequency changes, the two separate paths, one leading to oblivion, one leading to heaven on earth. Now more than ever, we're needing to align with right partnership and making sure that we're connecting in relationships, all kinds of relationships, with people who are walking in the same direction with us. Because if we are aligned with people who are working with the dark forces, they're still oblivious and completely unaware, operating on their baser animal instincts, lower frequencies. As much as we might wish and will them to come our way, we can't force them, we just can't make them do that. So once again, we've got to let go of those attachments to other people's choices. And if you're feeling inclined to think that you're going to influence someone because you're going to lift their vibration by loving them, giving them all this love and sending them all this love and light, and you sort of think on some level that you're in their life in order to fix them or heal them, that is codependence, and it's actually ego talk. Because one thing, you're not responsible for healing them, fixing them, making their choices, any of that. And secondly, you can't heal somebody else. No one can. And to think that you are actually responsible for the healing of someone else or taking the credit for that, that's all ego talk. We all have the power to heal ourselves. And the only thing that others do is aid in that healing through providing us with the tools, perhaps, in order to heal ourselves. showing us a technique or something that can help clear blocks and clear blocks to the energy. It's like a doctor or a nurse can bandage you up. That's their tools. But the actual healing of the wound is up to your own body. So the doctor or the nurse have not healed you at all. The card of differences asks you to accept that you will not always agree with everyone, and they may not always agree with you. Know that the intricate differences between all beings are sacred and good. You must learn to accept that others are not the same as you. It's important to allow others to express their own opinions. Consider the difference between an orange and an apple. Both are fruit, but they are different kinds. Is one more valuable than the other? All creatures, all beings have a right to their uniqueness. Try to see and hear the other person's side if you can. These last three cards in the spread, the World, Deceit and the Tower, I'm getting the distinct impression here that you're actually in the throes of a big awakening. Like you are about to see on a global level the deceit, the lies of the illusion. Some of you will be thinking, oh, but I'm already awake, I already know. But this is like another awakening. It's another level again, another unfoldment, another rabbit hole to go down. Something on a global level that you have not yet seen until now. And it could very well rock your world. This reading has turned out much, much longer than I anticipated, and much of what I've expressed in this reading I was actually going to keep for a complete separate video for everyone. But the time has come for a big revealing for you, Earth signs. Big, big wake-up call coming in. Well, I can't wait to have a look at your individual pathway spreads to see how this pans out for you. So stay tuned, Earth signs. Taurus, in your past position, you have the Knight of Pentacles. You actually have a lot of young, youthful energies in this spread, with 3 of the Knights here. So this Knight of Pentacles, though, is indicating that there was something slow moving in the past. Could have been to do with finances. In the present position, you have the Wheel of Fortune. So this is a complete turnabout going in your favour now. New luck and fortune coming in. And in the future position, we've got the exact opposite to the slow-moving Knight, and we've got the fastest Knight of the pack of all, being the Knight of Swords. So something coming in very quickly. Or it could be yourself dashing towards something very quickly. Or specifically an air sign, being Gemini, Libra or Aquarius, coming towards you quickly. The pattern or the set of lessons that is moving through your life right now is the Ten of Wands. The Ten of Wands is the card of oppression, burdens, overwhelm. But being a 10, the good news is that it's an indication that you're actually coming to the end of a cycle that has been burdening and oppressive. And the challenge that you have just conquered is the Chariot. This is the victory card, actually. And it can represent travel, but specifically movement. Now, what's working for you is the Knight of Wands. And the Knight of Wands can also be quite a fast-moving knight. But it can also be the knight that just flitters in and flitters back out again. Not a knight that you can specifically hold down particularly. But this knight also can represent a new career, a new job. coming in. But what is working against you, and I have a sneaking suspicion that the Five of Swords came up in your spread last month as well. So you might want to look back on January's reading to see what came out about that Five of Swords. The Five of Swords is also a card of victory like the Chariot, and they're next to each other in this spread. However, the Five of Swords is a victory that is gained at the expense of others. Someone is defeated. It's the Lord of Defeat card. So it's either someone who is leaving you feeling defeated, or you yourself are operating in a way where you're treading on other people in order to get ahead. And if that's the case, either way, it's not working for you. Now, if it is other people that are leaving you feeling defeated, and they're the ones gaining the victory over you at your expense, then it could be that you're being presented with an opportunity right now in which you may need to surrender to defeat in order to come back and have a win later. A true warrior will do that. Take defeat and learn from it, and then try again to succeed. It has been said that a good man will be beaten and accept losing, but a great man will be beaten, then go back and win. So that will be your path if you're being the one who is being defeated. But it's plausible that the two defeated men in this card were really not defeated at all. They just simply laid down their arms and walked away. They either knew that they would lose or they knew winning would be a pointless exercise. And by choosing not to fight, they are really the winners here. Because he who knows when to fight and when not to fight will be victorious. So remember those wise words, Taurus. See you next time. Virgo, in your past position you have the Seven of Pentacles. When this position is in the past position, you are reminded that your current situation is one that you had time in which to consider your options. You arrived to where you are now because of one person, and that's you. Often this is a great feeling to know that you made a good choice. However, if you're currently in a negative state of mind, the presence of this card in the past position may be confronting you with the fact that you created many of the circumstances from which you now suffer. Generally, the Seven of Pentacles is the card of harvest and reaping the rewards from past efforts. In the present position, we've got the Five of Wands, and this is a card of conflict with other people. So there could be arguments or just banter going on with other people, feeling conflicted maybe about how other people are behaving around you. And in the future position, we've got the Queen of Swords. It's either you are about to cut other people off or cut them to shreds verbally, or this is going to be done to you. Queen of Swords is just a sharpshooter, and it says it how it is, and she can just literally cut someone to ribbons with her sharp tongue with words. The pattern or the set of life lessons that's moving through your life now, we have the Two of Cups. So either you're enjoying a close soulmate relationship, or there are lessons unfolding in your life concerning a relationship or a partnership. The challenge that you have conquered or the lesson that you've just completed, we've got the Page of Wands. This indicates a young person and messages, but the feeling vibe that I'm getting from this card in this position is it's like you've gone through a process of coming out of youthfulness and immaturity, whether that be you or somebody else, maybe a partner. There was challenges there regarding immaturity. Now what's working for you? Six of Swords. And this is moving away into calmer waters. Travel, but heading towards smoother waters. What's working against you is the King of Wands. And this is, the Wands cards are about passion and creativity. So if this isn't literally a fire sign, being Leo, Sagittarius and Aries, it can be about work, a creative project that you're passionate about. Maybe it's not unfolding in the way that you want it to, or as quickly as you want it to. Trying to get something off the ground, but it just doesn't seem to be working at the moment. But because the card of conflict is here, and the Queen of Swords is here, there's a strong indication that a fire sign is playing a part here. And maybe you're not on the same page working together on something. Could be conflicted and at odds with each other over whatever it is that you're wanting to do. That's all I have for you this time, Virgo. See you next time. Capricorn, in your past position we've got the Lovers. So this is either actually a indication of a relationship, soulmate kind of relationship, or a choice that had to be made between lovers. And in the present position we've got the Queen of Cups. So maybe a new relationship came about with a water sign, Cancer, Scorpio or Pisces. In your January reading you had the King of Cups appear, and generally whether it's a queen or a king that it's referring to. But obviously you have a strong presence of a water sign or someone who has a lot of water in their chart, indicated strongly to be present in your life. If this is not actually indicating an actual person, it could be an aspect of yourself that's coming forward now, connecting more with your emotional side. And or connecting with your healing potential. Because a Cups person is rather motherly and a healing kind of person and is very intuitive. In your future position, you've got the Knight of Swords. So this could be an air sign, Gemini, Libra or Aquarius. Someone that dashing in quickly, or there could be fast movement. The pattern or set of life lessons that's moving through your life. We've got the Five of Pentacles. This is a card of feeling out in the cold, left out in the cold, either on your own or with somebody else. It can indicate a loss of some kind. So this will be your challenge for a while, Capricorn. The challenge that you have just conquered, or the lesson that you've just completed, we've got temperance. This is very much about balance, blending, healing. What's working for you is the Chariot. This is a card of travel, movement, victory, harnessing two forces, two opposite forces together. And what's working against you is the Ace of Wands. Now, generally, the Ace of Wands, any ace is planting of new seeds. And the Wands suits are passion and creativity. It can be starting new projects, creative projects that you're passionate about. But if this isn't a project, are you using your passions in a negative way? Lusting after somebody. Or it could be working against you in the way that you're trying to plant new seeds and get something off the ground, but it's just not working for you at this stage. Capricorn, you may like to refer back to your reading for January, because if I recall correctly, a strong intuitive message did come through to you about starting new creative projects. Maybe being able to launch something in order to create a new income stream from it, a hobby or something. And there was a message in there about it taking time. It's not something that's just going to happen overnight. So do check out the January reading again, and you'll get some more information about why this Ace of Wands is in the working against you position right now. See you next time, Capricorn. Is the Chariot. This, or there are lessons